It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hat or Rat. And today we'll be doing a little post-mortem analysis of Drag Race UK Series 3 by taking a look at its IMDb ratings on an episode-by-episode basis and breaking down the nitty-gritty of what went wrong and right throughout the season. Then we'll finish big with a hot errata the finale in which our top 3 were challenged to write lyrics for and perform in the new remix of Hey Sis, It's Christmas, and serve final 3 Eleganza Extravaganza on the runway. And we'll also be taking a look at Ella's leaked acceptance speech, which aired via the captions on Crave in Canada. We got a lot to cover today, but first, I'm excited to say that Christmas came early this year because I just got gifted the Performance Package 4.0 by today's video sponsor, Manscaped. And it features my favorite grooming product ever, the Lawnmower 4.0. I love this thing because its slim and compact design makes it easy to use. It's waterproof, and it charges wirelessly, which means no more cumbersome cables or hair left all over the bathroom floor. Also included in the performance package is the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray to keep Santa's sack smelling fresh all day long. And new in this collection is the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer. No more painful plucking. Now that's a Christmas miracle. And Manscaped's got you covered from head to toe with the new luxury Shears 2.0 stainless steel nail kit. Gift yourself or someone else the gift that keeps on giving this holiday season. Manscaped by clicking the link in the description of my video. And make sure to use code BUSSY during checkout because you'll get 20% off your order and free international shipping, plus 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag and Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. It really is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Thanks Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get this autopsy all started, okay? Let's start by taking a look at the IMDb ratings of each season of Drag Race UK, taken by averaging the episodic ratings within each season. And for reference, these numbers do change a little bit on a daily basis because people are always adding new reviews, but they are current as of November 25th. Series 1 of Drag Race UK clocks in with an IMDb average episodic rating of 8.2 out of 10 stars. Series 2 beats that just slightly with an average rating of 8.3, and Series 3's average episodic rating comes out to 7.1, rounded up from 7.08, the lowest of the 3. And for context, Drag Race Down Under's IMDb average episodic rating is about 5.7 as of right now, and All Star 6's is 8.0. So while Series 3 is the worst reviewed UK series of the 3 so far, it's by far not the worst of the Drag Race franchise. And it's definitely worth noting that Series 3 had some high spots. 4 episodes are currently sitting at an average of over 8.0, which is huge for IMDb. While Drag Race Down Under, for example, has not a single episode over 7 stars. And with all of that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened. I think I speak for everyone when I say that spirits were high after the premiere of this season. In fact, this episode's rating is 8.6, higher than any other UK series premiere. The hometown runways were stunning, and Victoria Scone, the franchise's first assigned female at birth drag queen, smashed it out of the park alongside Crystal Versace, 19-year-old drag prodigy. And they kept it fresh in the premiere with a lip sync for the win. The season had a clear direction, natural storylines, and in addition to setting up a front-runner rivalry between Crystal and Victoria, we had Ella and Veronica going head-to-head with their theater background drama. Scarlett and Kitty both felt like contenders in the campy category of this season. And Charity Case was there to bring her alternative take to the competition. And so many of the queens represented something unique. Teresa came into the competition a proud Spanish immigrant. Vanity shared her story about her Estonian heritage. River was representing Singaporean heritage. And Anubis, even in their drag name, was celebrating their Egyptian roots. Oh, and Electra Fence was electrocuted by a fence. Point being, there was a lot of fun personalities and possibilities to look forward to in this season. But it all came crashing down in episode 2, which featured the Peloton Dragathon parody challenge, and it's currently sitting at a rating of 6.1 stars. And I will say, it's pretty normal for the premiere of a season of Drag Race to get higher ratings than most of the other episodes, but the difference in the first and second episode is huge. This in large part seems to be because the challenge felt so chaotic, unplanned, and unrehearsed. Simply put, it felt like the production asked these queens to do way too much in too little time. Which is to say, this is not really a knock on the talent of the queens, but rather on the actual decisions made by production. And out of all this randomness, we see Crystal take her second win, quickly setting her apart as the clear frontrunner of the competition. And unfortunately for Victoria, the writing was already on the wall for her at this point. She couldn't even dance due to a knee injury that she got from the lip sync in episode 1. And as cool as it was, I think, for the fans of Crystal to see her take another win so early, it did feel defeating watching the season knowing that somebody was starting starting off with such a strong start. Plus, I think we were all watching with extra careful eyes since we were all sipping on some of the craziest gossip to have ever been spilled throughout the Drag Race fandom, as shared by Willam, saying of course she was told the entire season was filmed in 10 days. And if you haven't kept up with some of my previous videos, this was proven to be just gossip and nothing more. But with how rushed everything felt in this episode, it certainly seemed like it could have been true. And this is unrelated to the overall trajectory of the season and fan perception of it, but I can't leave episode 2 without remembering that Michelle, watching Elektra Fence breakdance in her lip sync, said, "What the f***" out loud. Truly iconic. And as we all assumed it would, episode 3 begins with us learning that Victoria had to withdraw from the competition due to medical reasons, which simultaneously cemented Crystal as a front-runner, crushed hopeful fans of Victoria, and prematurely closed the story's main storyline without establishing another. I do have to say though, I really enjoyed the runways this episode, and it seems they may have been the saving grace, with this episode receiving 7.2 stars out of 10 on IMDb. Our queens were challenged to serve 2 campy looks, one they brought and one they made there using camping supplies. So Scarlett takes the win here, which arguably also could have been given to Charity or even Crystal. And Veronica Green is sent home. This is yet another crushing blow to the season's storylines. Victoria versus Crystal fizzled out with no bang, and now Veronica versus Ella was dead in the water. And interestingly, we start to see the judges' perception of Crystal's runways and performance in the competition in general go from super positive to borderline negative. From here on out, we consistently hear from the judges when they're talking about Crystal that they expected her to look the way she looked. Episode 3 is also important in Charity Case's development because I think it proved that no matter what she did, she was pretty much going to be overlooked. She was quietly serving some of the best runways in the competition in the first 3 episodes and received no recognition for them, which sets the stage for the rotten meat that is the middle of this season, episodes 4, 5, and 6. And to be clear, this middle set of episodes is not bad because of anything that the queens did, but bad I think because they represent a chaotic meandering of the storyline with no clear direction. And the challenge in episode 4 is BDE, Big Drag Energy, featuring Baby Spice as a guest judge. It was overall, I think, a great episode. However, Charity Case and Scarlett Harlot, who just won last week, ended up in the bottom. And for some reason, they're given a double Shantae. And I'm not saying it like that to be shady, but I don't think that lip sync had the same double Shantae quality as, like, let's say, Alyssa versus Tatiana in All Stars, or Roxy versus Alyssa. I think more so the double Shantae represented a pause in the production of the season as the producers were trying to put all the pieces back together and figure out where they wanted things to go. And because Charlotte was in the bottom here, they either had to eliminate Crystal's only track record competition, or someone I'm sure they knew the fans would love. And the other weird thing this episode, of course, being that Charity was in the bottom, heavily critiqued for her look, despite even Baby Spice saying that Scary Spice would love this look. Remember that the runway category was Night of 1,000 Spice Girls, so in that context, it may not have made perfect sense. However, Charity Case did let us know in that Tia Coffee exit interview she did that the original runway brief was actually inspired by the Spice Girls. Regardless though, I am glad they didn't send anyone home this episode, and they had the freedom not to, considering they were already a girl short. But that episode led into one of the most WTF episodes of the entire series. In episode 5, RuPaul challenges our queens to write adverts for a new product called Draglexa, another technology product parody, which was, like the Dragaton one, poorly thought out because this time it meant that one of the queens had to voice the robot and thus not be on the screen, or the queens had to awkwardly take turns being the voice of this robot physically. It was strange. Rue's critique for everyone though was that she just wasn't impressed with either team, saying that no one was original and she'd seen it all before. And like, this being what, the 7th season of Drag Race that she has personally judged this year? Yeah, I'm sure she has. But that's beside the point. Rue definitely could have easily given and justified a win for the people on Crystal's team. However, that would have meant another win for Crystal as team captain, or a win for the entire team, also giving Crystal another win. So instead they throw Scarlett and Charity into the bottom 2. Scarlett seemingly because she was the team captain of her group, and Charity because she was the team Oh no, wait, Crystal was the team captain of her group, but Charity is in the bottom, apparently because she wasn't giving enough versatility in the competition, despite giving a glamorous look in that main challenge, and in addition to her serving her unique alternative take on drag on the runway several different times, also giving more traditional looks on 2 of the runways, the campy and orange ones. It just kind of felt, as a viewer of the show, the judges went out of their way to keep Crystal out of the bottom. I think they simply couldn't risk losing the front runner of the competition to a lip sync, and having already had Charity and Scarlett in the bottom last week, a redo of that kind of made sense and felt a little dramatic. But I think the ironic part of them 2 in the bottom again was this lip sync felt a little more like a double Shantae than the last week. Anywho, Charity, who I think was becoming a fan favorite, was eliminated, and we were all left with more questions than answers. The IMDb score of this episode was only 5.9, which sounds low but is nothing when compared to the next episode's score of only 4.1, the Snatch Game. And for context, just so you know how much people did not like this episode and how low this score actually is, UK Series 1 didn't have a single episode rated below 7.7 stars. Series 2 lowest score was 6.5, and the only episode in the seasons we've mentioned in this video so far to do worse than this one is episode 7 of Drag Race Down Under, which currently has a rating of 3 stars. But as they say, it often does get worse before it gets better. I feel though like we've been talking about a lot of negatives, so I do want to quickly highlight how amazing Ella and Kitty Snatch Game performances were this episode. The Microwave, Gemma Collins, stellar performances from both of them. And we finally see the storyline of this season progress a little bit further, with Ella getting her second win, putting her on par with Crystal. However, as they establish Ella as Crystal's new track record rival, they do continue to leave Crystal in the shadows. Despite her getting critiqued for a less than stellar Snatch Game performance and a repetitive runway, we don't see her in the bottom. And I'm not necessarily saying that she should have been in the bottom for this performance, I'm just saying that the critiques did not match the performances, which did not match the placements in the episodes. And instead of Crystal's Charity Shop Sue landing her in the bottom, we see River and Choriza lip syncing. The only 2 queens who we saw Rue ask to change their Snatch Game in the workroom that didn't. And then, the biggest shocker of the whole season, they're both eliminated. I, and I'm sure many others, were sitting there thinking, what in gay hell is going on here today? Because on one hand, the double sachet felt a bit justified. I don't think River or Choriza lip synced for their life. However, it kind of made this season feel like nothing really mattered. But I think the 4.1 on IMDb rating for this episode says more than I could say in 1,000 more words. So let's move on, shall we? Fortunately, I think Series 3 finally finds its footing in episodes 7, 8, and 9. And the IMDb scores for these 3 episodes, I think, represent that. 8.4, 8.2, and 8.9 respectively. And while they were great, I do think there were some interesting loose ends that they were tying up from those previous 3 chaotic episodes. In particular, with all of the chaos going on, we kind of saw this rivalry between Vanity and Scarlett start, which sometimes felt fake and other times felt real. And other times it felt like it was Scarlett versus everyone. She was kind of getting a bit of a villain edit, which I think may have been a little over dramatized because there admittedly was not much dynamic interaction between many of the queens. Girl, the editors and producers took full advantage of when Scarlett left untucked to process everything that was going on in episode 5. Anywho, real rivalry or not, the one talent stuff between Scarlett and Vanity is finally resolved in episode 7, which did feel like a bit of good payoff for us, speaking in terms of storyline. And this episode's FUGLY pageant win was given to Kitty, which I do think represented an important storyline development, giving us a true third contender for the crown, speaking strictly just on track record. And moving into episodes 8 and 9, I can't say that anything was super surprising, but episode 8's acting challenge was great and was maybe the best episode of this season up until that point, but it also wasn't a shock that nobody was sent home. I mean, we were already a girl short going into episode 8, and it's not like they were gonna do anything less than 3 girls for the grand finale, so who didn't see that coming? We did though continue to see the almost put down of Crystal in episode 8. The edit made me feel like they were trying to set Crystal up as a bad actor, seemingly using the failure of anybody to gain a win back into the marketing challenge as the reason for her potentially not going to be good in this challenge. Which I think, instead of an actual depiction of her talents in relation to this challenge, was more of a tool to focus on the continued success of Ella and Kitty, who did share the win this episode, which I will say felt a little strange. This was like the 4th time in this season that Rue / the judges failed to pick someone. There were just, I think, too many double Shantaes, eliminations, and now wins. Kitty, I think, should have taken the win solo here, which also would have evened out the track records a bit. And then the roast goes, I think, exactly as we all expected it to. Ella and Kitty smashed out of the park, and Crystal and Vanity lip sync. And as great as Vanity's lip sync was here, I think it did make a lot more sense for the judges to keep the contestant with the higher track record that hadn't been in the bottom 4 times at that point. Which brings us to the grand finale. However, despite the past 3 episodes' stellar audience reviews on IMDb, the finale is currently sitting at an average review of 5.6 stars. Ella and Kitty both entered the finale, I think, as rising stars, obvious contenders for the crown, both having 2 wins in the past 3 episodes, Ella having a total of 4 and Kitty now a total of 2. And Crystal was entering the finale from the bottom 2, having been without a win since episode 2. And it felt like the judges had spent so much time critiquing and not being impressed with Crystal in episodes 3 through 7 that it just didn't seem likely for Rue to give her the crown. But let's go ahead and break down what happened. In the Hey Sis, It's Christmas remix, I've gotta say, oh my god, all 3 queens absolutely killed it. The choreo and the verses they wrote. Was the choreo perfect? No, but it was extremely ambitious and I was proud of each of them for doing their own thing. Let's start with Ella's verse, who had me shaking. She belted that verse with a musical theater punch that left me on my ass. Plus she looks stunning. Hey, we're under the mistletoe, came to prove myself to you, ho ho ho. Come on and jump on my sleigh. Have Elva Christmas with Elva Day. And Kitty's was perfectly campy, silly, fun, ridiculous. Pull my cracker, it's your favorite kitty. Scott Claus is the name, always blonde, what a fitty. 1,000 voices in this busty queen. Stella, Gemma, and even Nadine. And Crystals. Wow, I watched hers back a couple of times because it was not only classic bitch track, but perfectly captured her essence. Get crystallized at Christmas time. All these other girls better get in line. It's Crystal with a K, go straight to the V. It's time to party with Miss Versace. The rhyming was just awesome. All 3 verses and performances get hats from me. But as for the runways, first up and my least favorite tonight is Elva Days. She does look pretty, sure, but the dress was a misstep. Something about it didn't quite fit or feel finished. The shoe was off and really the styling wasn't fresh, which I think represented a bigger problem with a lot of Ella's drag that we saw on the runway. Because as talented as she is, and y'all know I love her, I said she should have her own one-woman show last episode, I think she has yet to develop a distinct style in drag or even like stage persona. And for amazing as she did throughout the entire competition, I just kind of left this season not truly understanding her perspective or knowing who she is. But I have no doubt with time that she'll get there. This look though is a Next up, Kitty's got natural beauty. The judges really were not lying this week when they told her that she just got more and more beautiful every week. She looks like one of those princess dolls that would pop up outside of a music box and just like twirl around. And I think this look perfectly showcases her many years of experience in drag and attention to detail. Kitty, this look is hot. And finally, there's glamour, and then there's Crystal Versace. Wow. Crystal is a queen that constantly impresses on the runway. I think she did consistently prove that she's a great lip syncer. She's a decent actor. And we knew this verse and performance would be good because she did great in the BDE song. Has she perfectly harnessed all of her powers? Maybe not yet, but what she has is magical and inspiring. On legs. I think this look is absolutely hot. And concerning their final 3 lip sync, well, I did react to that over on my Patreon at patreon.com/bussyqueen. That's my members only website where my patrons get exclusive member benefits like early access to my videos, access to exclusive videos, and access to the Bussy Queen Discord server. You can join by clicking the link in the description of this video. See you there. I don't ever put too much stock into these final 3 lip syncs where there's like more than 2 queens on a stage lip syncing, but for what it's worth, I do think that Ella seemed a tad checked out here. And I don't know if that's because of something we didn't see behind the scenes, or maybe she felt a little bit defeated because she was the only queen that got critiqued for her finale look. And I thought Crystal and Kitty both did a great job. And as for my final thoughts about this crowning, I was so shocked. Like, I genuinely did not anticipate that Rue was going to crown Crystal. But when you look at what happened in this episode, I think it's clear that Crystal won this episode. And I think winning the finale is super important in the decision of who's going to win the season. Anywho, Crystal wins, which I think explains the 5.6 rating of the finale on IMDb. However, though, I really don't think that's warranted because the episode overall was great, and I think Crystal's a deserving winner. In fact, I think they all would have been great winners. This win, though, is not totally dissimilar to what happened with Lawrence last season, who had a great showing in the first half of season 2, but didn't do so great in the second half, where Bimini excelled, leaving the fan base sort of confused because they had Bimini winning so fresh on their minds. And as strange as it was to see the judges going so quickly from loving Crystal to being critical of Crystal, I do think it was kind of necessary that they make that switch because they needed to find another front-running replacement for Victoria. They needed to fix storyline issues, and they kind of needed to distract with crazy Shantaes and eliminations. It's not right, but I guess it's okay. And all things considered, I don't think we can be truly surprised that Crystal won given how enamored RuPaul was with her. She shared in her reaction to the crowning clip that RuPaul actually took her aside and told her how amazing her performance was at one point during filming.
And after the lip sync me and Vanity did, she took me aside off camera in the workroom and she spoke to me and she was like, I just want to let you know that that was incredible. And the way you told a story with your body is like amazing. She was like, I'm literally gagged. Like, I can't believe it. And I was like, okay. Like, I've not told people that, but that I was gagged.
But agree with it or not, I do encourage you to please be nice to all the queens. This was a crazy as hell season, and it wasn't their fault that all of those crazy decisions were made, so tell them you love them and congratulate them, and if y'all are watching, congratulations. And finally, as for my hottest hots of the episode, out of the 3 categories, I'm going to give Ella my hottest hot in the performance, Crystal my hottest hot on the runway, and Crystal my hottest hot in the lip sync. I also asked my patrons to vote on the performance and runways, and they too voted for Ella and Crystal respectively. Now finally, let's talk about Ella's acceptance speech. Despite Crystal being crowned on a streaming platform in Canada called Crave, which airs Drag Race UK, they actually aired the captions of Ella's acceptance speech over Crystal's win. In these frames displaying the captions from Crave, you can see Ella Vaday's name right after Ru says Crystal Versace's name. And then the captions say when Crystal is speaking, I would like to just say thank you so much, RuPaul, for having faith in me. It's been one of the most, if not the most amazing experiences of my whole life. And you've changed me forever. And then the captions when Crystal are speaking in the confessional part are saying, I'm an Eleva winner, an Eleva pun. So that was an interesting piece of information to receive. Gab, thank you for emailing me that clip. I wouldn't though jump to any dramatic conclusions about the winner being switched at the last minute or anything. Or would I? No, we shouldn't do that. But I would assume that each distribution service is given a copy of each winner's speech with captions already completed, and it's likely that a file just got mixed up somewhere. Because for a final 3 or 4 in this situation where they're filming on the stage, they do film an acceptance for each queen. Let me know what you think about all that though down in the comments below. As always, I want to say thanks to you for watching today's video. Today's video sponsor, Manscaped. Make sure to check them out using the link in the description of this video, and my generous patrons who make my channel possible. And I also want to give a special shout out to Satan's Mommy, Owen Campbell Kelly, Chris and Cody, Alec Villarreal, Martika Waterman, Esteban Baez, and Miguel Martin Garcia, who've all just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Lark, Ali Al, Angel, Cyrus, Felicia, Cody P, Hector, Jared Rocks, JB, Joseph, Josh Marchant, JP in Dallas, Laura, Lisette, Matthew, Maxilo, wow, Miss F, Neely, OG Debuse, Rochambeau, Scooby Snacks, Sailor, Steven, Tom Jaco, Tom Young, Topher, Triton, and Yuli, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. See y'all next time. Love you.